Hello everybody, this is Emma from Crafting Me, and I am back with another installment of the Learning to Use Photoshop series. So if you haven't checked out the first part of this series, do that now. It'll make a lot more sense what I'm teaching today. So today I'm going to teach you how to make a little handout quote thing, and you can see a picture of that on my blog. So today I just want you to make exactly the same handout that I'm making, and I will show you how to do that. So right here I have opened a file that's a 4x6, and the first thing that I want to do is I want a white fill color. So I just want to drag my color all the way to white. And I want to make the background white. So I'm going to click on the fill bucket, make sure I'm on layer 1, and fill. So as you can see in the picture, I have a striped background. So the stripes are gray, so I'm just going to pick a gray color that looks like pretty similar to the gray that I used. And so for this striped background, I made the stripes 1/4 of an inch away from each other, so each 1/4 of an inch I put a line. So the first line is going to be right there, and I need to check my brush size, so that's 25 pixels. I think I want it a little smaller, and you can test it out, kind of get the feel for the size that you want. Okay, so I'm going to start at the first 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to push shift and then make a line. I think that is a pretty good brush size, so I'm just going to keep that. And for whatever reason, my program, when I draw a straight line with the shift key, before drawing another line I have to click on the move tool and then go back, or else it connects the two lines. I don't know why it does that, but it's just something that I have to do. So then you're going to go to the next, so this will be 2/4 or 1/2 an inch. So basically every 1/4 of an inch you're going to add a line. The next element that you might notice in the background is that we have a kind of curly kind of frame that has the words inside it. So let me show you how I did that. So I selected a frame, so I went to my shapes, all element shapes, and I looked for a shape that I thought would look really good with the kind of look I was going for, and I really liked the frame 18. So I'll click that. So then I drew it, and I think I usually do it like 1/4 of an inch away from each side. So draw that, and you can see that it's going to be too small. So then I thought, well, I can stretch it, but when you stretch it, you see that the longer sides get more distorted and stretched, and it's not even. So what I did, because I really wanted this frame, I decided to do something very sneaky. So first let me change the color to the kind of corally color that I used. So what I did was I selected this frame, and I pushed Option to create another frame. And then I lined up these sides over here so that it didn't look like the sides it was two different frames. So then I took the eraser tool. So I selected the bottom frame, and then I erased the top of the bottom frame. And you can see how it's kind of okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom, and I'm going to erase the side of that frame too. So you can see now I just have one big frame. So that's how I made my frame. And you might also notice that the words have a white background instead of the striped background. So what I did was I took a rectangle and I stretched across the whole background. You can see it's the coral color, but I want it to be white, so I'm going to change my fill to white, and then while I have the shape 2 selected, I'm going to fill it. Now you can see that the rectangle is on top of the frame, and as you learned in the last video about layers, you're going to bring it down to under the frame but above the background so it shows up. So you can kind of see it's starting to resemble the handout. So now let's start with our text. So I really love quotes, and the quote that I picked for this was, "Believe there is good in the world," but the really cool thing about it is that be, the, and good are in different colors so it stands out. So let's start with the believe. So I picked, I really wanted to be the good to stand out, so I decided, so first I started by typing out believe. And then I decided, I want, even if that's a different color, it's still not going to stand out a ton. So what if I change the font, have the rest of it be lowercase and the color? Like, that's going to make it stand out. So the leave part of believe, I made lowercase. And then B, so then the B I wanted to change the font of, and I just choose a random font. I like using American Typewriter, so I use that. Then I made a different color, and I wanted blue, so I chose blue. And I think the leave part is actually a different font, but we'll just leave it like that for now. Then under the believe, I added a dotted line. So you can do that by going to brush settings, spacing, space it out however you want it. And then you want to make sure you're on shape 2 so that the line shows up, and then add the dotted line. And you can simplify the layer. There's that. And I think I'm just going to change the font of this just because it's bugging me a little. So now that looks more like the finished product that I showed you on my blog. So there's the believe, and then there is, we're going to work with that next. And for the there is, I kept it the same case. They're all lowercase, but in the same font, but I changed the color of the, so that it was the orange coral color that I chose. And then good, I really wanted good to stand out because that's kind of like the key phrase. So type good. I wanted it really big. And I wanted it to be a totally different font than we had. These are kind of modern, straight, kind of tight fonts, but I wanted a cursive one that was different. And the one that I used, I think it was Digs My Heart. And yes, that looks right. And I wanted that to be in blue, so it's kind of alternating. Be the good. And then at the bottom I added in the world. So you want to do that in gray. So you want it to be gray. And you want to change it back to this font that you used for leave and RE is. And I think I kind of sized everything differently than I did in the original one. And so that's totally fine. This is just teaching how to make it. So, yeah. So now I want to do the dotted line at the bottom. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did at the top. Hold down your shift key. But you can see I didn't change it back to blue, so it stayed in gray. Change the color to blue. Make sure you're selected on shape 2. There you go. I also added flowers in the background because I wanted to tie in the blue just a little bit more. So I found, I went to my shapes and you can see there's tons of flowers, and I liked this one. I thought that it was kind of just a simple one that would fit well into the background. So I just, put these just all around in the background. Make sure to check your layers. So if they're not showing up, it probably has something to do with the alignment or whatever. So I just kind of added these all around. And you can see this is above shape 2, so it's coming through. So if I make it underneath shape 2, then it will just be in the background. Okay. And that is how you make the Believe There Is Good in the World handout. Thanks for watching, and check back next Thursday for a new installment.